So I know you've done many biohacks. Of the biohacks you've done to your own body, which do you think has been the most successful, or like the most has improved you the most?
I hate to say this because it's like straight up a plug, but like
Yeah.
the mini circle follistatin, I really can't, express enough like how great that shit is.
What is mini circle follistatin?
So it's a it's a gene. It's a mini circle, which is to say it's like a small ring of like DNA that's basically like injected into like your cells somewhere.
Yeah.
And it basically transcribes a like particular kind of protein or chemical and like slowly starts like leaching that stuff into your bloodstream. And it's also the same stuff that Bryan Johnson went to Honduras to get. So that is the same people.
Yeah.
But I was,
And this is what has given you a second puberty.
No.
Yeah.
This is like it's just generally useful. I mean, like when so it was part of a clinical trial for it, and they took it, basically there's a kill switch on the DNA. So it's like if you take a specific antibiotic, the DNA will basically dissolve and stop expressing. And so
you can quit.
Yeah, so you can quit. You can just turn it off.
Okay.
And so when they turned it off, I like in the space of like a month, like got unbelievably sick and then like broke my foot. And I was just like, it was very clearly doing some very heavy lifting in terms of like compensating for my lifestyle at that time, which was not particularly great.
Right. So it just overall made you more energetic, more intelligent?
Yeah, I think like the energy lift and the boost there is like great. And like it's like a generalized like decrease in sleep need and like all those such things. Like it's great. I mean, you can go read this like whole like debunking of like mini circles like product. Like, there's no way anybody could get that to work. Like it's like there's no way they get the effect sizes that they're claiming. And like I would like to state for the record that like they are very much as large as they're claiming, and they're fucking great.
We've talked privately about second puberty.
Yeah.
What does this mean? Have you experienced a second puberty, and if so, how was it?
So the second puberty was this like idea that if you basically like prompted your body hormonally, could you kind of like re-enter like a critical period in which you're like like more like hyperplastic, kind of like able to like reintegrate yourself. And so like a lot of the like Zuma Manifesto from in the esteemed Mars Review of Books came out of like actually like this like lived experience of like, well, like, okay, this is what it's like, I guess. And it's like what we ended up like coming to was this like idea of like, like the thing is like boomerification is a transcendental quality, right?
Boomerification is a transcendental quality. Okay.
And so like what it means like
No, wait, hold on. I gotta what do you mean by that?
So like and you don't have to be like boomerism admits no sort of like age distinction, right?
Right.
Like, there are like definitely like 25, 30-year-old who are like basically in effect like boomers. And it's like what is like
these are the geriatric millennials we've heard so much about. Yeah.
And so like what is like kind of like what is the sort of the symptoms of like boomer syndrome? And it's like it's basically an inability to like update your world model towards like what is actually like the case.
Right.
And so like basically like what happens is, and it's like I see this with my parents, it's like basically like your world model stopped updating at a certain point.
Right.
And so like you're always operating as if it was like 1990, 2000, 2005, 2010, but it's not like that anymore. And like I think this is like very fundamentally like a problem, like it's like an endemic problem of like the way in which like change occurs.
Yeah.
And like
and the internet like really fucked that up.
Yeah,
really
and
fucked
it
that
really
up.
accelerates
Yeah,
this, right?
yeah.
And so it's like basically it's like this idea is that you could like kind of prevent yourself being afflicted by this like kind of transcendental boomer syndrome by like reopening like a sort of like critical like pubertal period and like allowing yourself to sort of like recalibrate your world model once again and like truly become native to the current year.
And how did you do that?
It was a mess of like, variety of like peptide injections, like some of which were not necessarily like well dosed or responsibly dosed for that matter, but like
you were not yet a qualified medical professional.
I would call that my residency period.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like Bryan Johnson is always posting his biomarkers.
Yeah. Are you trying to get me to post biomarkers, or like?
But if you want to.
No, but to me, it's like the idea of biomarkers is very like fundamentally like it's derived on this idea of like the body and like life as this like kind of like homeostatic system that like can be like like calibrated to a set point and like measured like forever after. It's like if you're like living and experiencing life, then it's like it's by definition not a set point and like not like a homeostatic. It's like are those biomarkers like useful? Like yes.
Yeah.
But it's like should you be like optimizing on them to like as like a sort of like instrumental end goal in itself is like it's just
because the point of biohacking should be to live more, not to preserve yourself as like an
and like I prefer the term in the sort of frame of like the point of biohacking is like to like have more life, not to like live more. It still carries a sort of like extensionist kind of like longevity sort of thing. Is like to me it's about like the intensity of like how hard can it go, like how much life can you get out of any particular moment. Right.
Did you see did you see his face blowing up?
Yeah. Well, this is like that other.
That was pretty funny.
Somebody was like,
he looked too gaunt, so he tried to inject somebody else's DNA into his face to sort of. But he looks now like that meme of like who's the like Russian guy or whatever who got too much plastic surgery.
Oh, the Bogdanovs.
Yeah, he kind of looks like the Bogdanovs. Yeah.
But like. This is like precisely the kind of like systematic derangement that you have when you try and like it's like the same problem though like we were kind of like talking about earlier is that like the like that kind of like numbers based approach to like biohacking like kind of like posits its own closeness and like in positing its own closeness it remains like oblivious and unable to grasp what life like truly is. And like how it should be thought of in like a like scientific and like theoretical perspective.
And what life truly is
whatever you want it to be. I don't fucking know. I'm still trying to work that out.